So, I'm a businessman. I specialize in the trade of online currencies in the form of RuneScape Gold, Warcraft Gold. So our operations are not just based here in the US, we also have operations going on in South Korea, Venezuela, and China, with maybe more to come.
On tonight's episode of The Absurdist, we're going to have an interview with the ringleader of the gold farming black market plaguing the MMORPG economies. When game developers wanted to create an immersive virtual world, they were expecting a utopia where players can interact with others. Instead, they got a clusterfuck of a broken economy that was eventually exploited by the player base. A gold farmer is a player who does repetitive tasks, known as grinding, to stockpile a large amount of gold that they can sell off for real-world currency to save other players' time. This inevitably caused inflation of virtual economies. The average yield for a farmer is usually less than $1 per hour, and in a lot of cases it's usually just a few cents an hour. You would think that an average player would usually opt out.
I'm feeding mouths in countries like Venezuela. We get a good chunk of our gold from Venezuelan players. Now, unlike the Chinese who usually use bot farms, the Venezuelans, they're just everyday people working like 9 to 5 in like a fucking office, and they offload their gold onto us. We get really good rates from them, and ultimately we don't pay them too much, but based on what they could make in the ordinary job market in Venezuela, it really is a lot.
A Kotaku article in 2017 confirmed that given the immense inflation of the economy of Venezuela, making pennies an hour gold farming was considered more lucrative than any other opportunity. In many cases, it was the only opportunity. T-Money even made the claim that his workers make more than doctors in Venezuela.
We pay them, I don't want to really talk numbers, but you could argue some of our top earners make more than doctors, more than architects, more than lawyers in the country. So I think everyone's, happy. In a lot of these countries, you have legit sweatshops, right? But here, maybe they're in an air-conditioned room. Like, what occupational hazards are there, really? Carpal tunnel, I think it's pretty good working conditions, and it's a very good salary for what they're accustomed to.
T-Money claims that his business is fully legitimate, consisting of a complex chain of subsidiaries and other gold farming companies. One could argue that it is a roundabout money laundering operation, but T-Money insists that all his cash flow is on the books without his name being visible to parties that don't need to know. His main reason for doing this is to remain invisible for companies like JagX, the creators of RuneScape, and Blizzard, the creators of World of Warcraft.
So I work with multiple syndicates. They're each registered under different LLCs. I take loans from these LLCs. These LLCs go out of business. My loans are forgiven. I can spend all the money I want. Nothing really. I don't get into any trouble with the IRS. I pay all my taxes. But we have a lot of expenses, a lot of employees. So maybe I see from that like $50,000 a month after taxes. I'm a real fan of Elon Musk, and I pre-ordered the Tesla 3 when it was first announced. I have one right now. Great car. I'd recommend it. But I don't spend too much. In the end, maybe I run a cartel, but am I the only one? Look at video game developers. That's a real cartel right there. They own the whole environment. They have their own alternative currencies that operate completely outside of the a player-run economy. And this kind of stuff is involving kids, right? They're getting kids to gamble, through loot boxes, that kind of stuff. They're on the front. They say they're making a game, not running the economy. And we're seeing that now with new legislation.
Many of those companies are now falling under scrutiny by lawmakers for promoting gambling for children via loot boxes. Even the social media giant like Facebook is facing lawsuits for games like Candy Crush, where children are using their parents' account information to make in-game purchases. T-Money believes that there will be a day where virtual economies will be fully autonomous. Not just because of legislation, but because of the player's choice.
Ethical, I mean, I don't see why not. Game developers would say maybe I violate their terms of services and whatnot, but US government is fine with what I do. I'm fine with what I do. I make people happy. There's clearly a need for this. I think it's something like 40 to 50% of players have at one point or another bought gold. You know, chances are I'm involved in that transaction, right?